Well, hey, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, third post, your video game enthusiast and industry analyst. And today for June 20th, 2025, I'll run through the latest gaming news, what I've been playing. Yeah, we'll talk gaming and all that. I am exhausted. I was telling you guys I do the boxing on Thursday mornings, and I was doing some weight training, strength training this morning. And both instances, I'm getting my butt kicked. Oh man, it's good though. I'm glad it kind of helps set my day. Although I think I have to start doing the strength training later in the day because I'm not getting the fuel in me I need to. Yeah, I'm tired. But what is with this physical activity talk, especially when we're talking about video games? But hey, I'm glad it's Friday. I'm glad we got the weekend. Work's been busy, and I kind of want to focus on a game, and I don't know what game I want to focus on this weekend. Maybe we'll discover that as we go. But good to see Ultronimus and Chris in chat already. Yeah, let's dive into what I've been playing. So, Paradox Soul from the stream yesterday. It's funny, it's only saying 21 minutes. It's got to be more. I played some more yesterday after the stream. And like, it's fun. There's something about it. It's not what I expected, but at the same time, it works. I think what's really interesting about it is the sort of like if you die or something, it's usually like one hit. There's no like health to manage, but then you respawn pretty much back at the last door you're at. So it kind of has that an element of what do you call it, like trial and error that I'm not the biggest fan of, but some games do it as part of the gameplay mechanics, like Hotline Miami. That's really what that game was. You come into a room, you would just die and be like, okay, I know that guy is going to be there, so I got to do this. Anyway, that's what this is. And again, I don't mind it because the game respawns you at the last door you went in. So it's about being quick. Also, I think there was an issue with the sound. I think when I was playing yesterday, the sound was super loud, and apparently that was actually an issue with the game itself. Because when I'm streaming and I'm listening, I have these controls here that I just change, but and likewise. So I didn't play Awita anymore yesterday, but I remember I was telling you guys, and that's that really good pixel art looking Metroidvania, that I was having issues with the controls and all that. Well, apparently a patch came out that's addressing controller issues, and a developer still hasn't figured out what it is yet, but they're working on that. Some other bugs in the game, tweaking the endurance system. I thought the endurance system was pretty interesting because you really had to manage that anyway. So it's good to see this small game again get a patch. And so this would be a good moment to say that I think Awita is the game that I want to spend time with this weekend and play. And, just because I really enjoyed what I was doing, and it might not be too long. So, but can't forget, JamKillX in the chat. Morning. But can't forget again, War Robots, Frontiers. Again, a game I did not think that I would still play, but I am playing it, guys. 5 hours and 20 minutes. And what's interesting about it is at first I felt like I was, oh my God, progression system. How does it work? Okay, what type of money and credits do I use for this? And you don't really have to focus on that a lot to have fun. And again, it reminds me of Dreadnought. There's this balance. It's rare that these free-to-play games do, where it's like, not only do you kind of have a lot, but you're so focused on the gameplay, you're not really thinking too much about progression. Because what's so cool about War Robots, again, is its slower paced nature. It almost has this sort of quick draw cowboy aesthetic, just the idea of like who's quicker at the draw. Like maybe it's a certain weapon that has to be used, an ability. I like that in the game mode they have it where one of the main game modes is like, so you will build multiple robots to use in this game. But when one dies, you can just use the others. And then, like, a Battlefront or whatever, there's the super robot, your Titan, that you can get once the meter's filled up. And so I'm focusing so much on those gameplay elements that uh, uh, now I will say I did pay $10 for the season pass, battle pass, whatever they're calling it. It's just it was $10. And when I looked at what I would be getting out of it, I was like, okay, this is actually worth it because it's really generous. And it's interesting. I think Fortnite does this, but Helldivers has the same sort of system where it's like you load into it and there's these blocks of items that you can use special battle pass currency for to buy. And again, it's pretty generous because I'm getting parts. And then let's say I'm playing, but I'm not getting a lot of parts. I'm getting credits maybe to then upgrade parts. So there's this balance where there's something you can always be doing. But at the end of the day, it has really good gameplay. So here's the other funny thing. Last night, as I was going to bed, I just spent 10 minutes on War Robots on mobile, Google Play. It was the original game that came out of this and on mobile. And so that's the other thing. These two games are completely different. The War Robots Mobile and War Robots Frontiers. The mobile one's actually pretty fun, and there's a lot of similarities to it. But I'm not going to spend my time with it. In fact, the gameplay is pretty fun, so that could be a good time killer, but it's not something I'm going to be devoting time to. But it is interesting, this aspect. While I was playing it, I got an ad for Call of Duty Mobile, and it's really interesting because I do feel like we're at a point where right now all of these games could be played on any. Like, I feel like you could have PC console Call of Duty on mobile. I'm sure you're going to have to scale down the graphics a bit. Maybe. Some of these modern phones are really good, but I would think with the War Robots, they could have done the same thing. But at the same time, I think this is good. As someone that's been a little apprehensive in how the mobile market's been growing, and a lot of developers are focusing on just throwing out these free-to-play games, on mobile. A developer like who makes War Robots, it's like, oh, well, we'll also then make a console PC experience. And it's way more thought out, way more fully featured. So I got to recognize, in the time of mobile gaming and how they can just throw out slop and not really care, this dev turned around, released a game on PC and console, adding more of those features. I was even reading in the discussions for War Robots Frontiers, they said with this new season, if you're a new player, you're going to notice the progressions really fast because there's always something to unlock. Anyway, enough gushing about that. I just think that's really cool because it was completely unexpected, and I'm having fun. All right, so let's jump into news. This first one: Xbox and Windows are no longer at arm's length, and this is an opinion piece. I'm curious what they mean by this. As Microsoft's next-gen strategy becomes clear, which let's see what he means by that, or they. Xbox and its diverse hardware are increasingly tightly integrated with Windows, a marriage that's a quarter century in the making. And it was very funny. I think I brought this up yesterday or the day before, where I was looking at older articles from 2014, 2013, and Microsoft has always had this vision, and they just haven't pulled back from it. They've added to it, but actually they've been consistent this entire time. So I don't know if I can read this whole thing. So does an Xbox interface running over the top of Windows turn the device into a console? Probably not. But on the other hand, does quibbling over the definition of a console actually matter to very many people? I'm glad he says this, because this is where I feel like a lot of times when there's video game discourse online, people focus on things that I don't think really matter, or they're mainly only representing a subgroup of people. Because again, when the ROG Ally came out, a lot of journalists, Jeff Grubb, and I say journalists, just gaming pundits out there, Jeff Grubb, there was Carrick with ACG, they were all like hating on the ROG Ally. It's like, this isn't a console-like experience. It has Windows on it. And it's like, For a PC gamer like me, that's amazing. And so the ROG Ally did good. So good, in fact, that Xbox was like, okay, well, let's come out with 2 ROG Allies and then we'll just brand it Xbox. And even when they show you the overlay, it's really no different than just full screening the Xbox app on the ROG Ally. And so I am glad this person is bringing up, does quibbling over the definition of a console actually matter to very many people? And I honestly don't think it does at all. So when people focus on that stuff in these discussions with these handheld devices, I'm like, guys, you're missing it. No one cares, except for a subset of people that have had success in their niche in video games online, and they are really just speaking in those terms. Still, there are reasons to be concerned about this approach, both for developers and consumers. An Xbox ecosystem encompassing many devices with many different specifications created by many different companies is a tricky moving target for developers, very different from the static target of a console or even the bifurcated target that Microsoft has presented with Xbox Series X and S. And I mean, again, I feel like it makes no sense to focus on this. There's so much parity with hardware nowadays. It almost doesn't matter. There's development layers, I don't know what you call it, that you can add. I mean, Microsoft knows this stuff, backwards compatibility. We're going to get to another article here talking about how they've got some more backwards compatibility coming to PC. So again, I think that kind of negated his previous point of saying, does something matter? And then no, we're actually doing that again. But anyway, let's see. Arguably, the bigger concern is that Windows doesn't exactly have a sterling reputation for gaming performance on lower end systems like handheld consoles. That is just such a weird statement. For instance, the ROG Ally runs PC games better than the Steam Deck runs Steam games. I mean, that was just one thing I'm throwing out there. Also, I mean, what other lower end system do you mean other than that? Like, just as someone with a ROG Ally, I could pretty much do whatever I want on it. So, and that's the thing. For PC gamers, the non-journalists that cover specific topics, this has existed for a while. Think of back in 2008, Xbox for Windows Live, or I forget what they called it. Yeah, people complained about it, but it worked. It was there. It existed. Only a few weeks ago, we got confirmation that installing Valve SteamOS on handheld gaming devices could massively improve performance over having Windows on them. But that's not true. Who confirmed this? Dave 2D. I don't know who that is, but there's enough videos out there. So what's interesting is, but how much work do you have to do to get these things? And the regular consumer is not going to do this. Again, I feel like these articles go everywhere where it's saying, well, people don't really do this, but hey, people figured out how to do this. Very interesting article. Okay. Perhaps Microsoft's real strategy is not to have any straightforward rivals, to treat the Xbox and its publishing business as an opportunity to lift all boats and profit in many different ways. If so, it's that strategic vision more than any other aspect of the next Xbox that could really shape the industry. No. What it is, and they've done it the whole time, services. Microsoft their plan this whole time has been services. And I think I brought up stream before, like when the original Xbox came out, their plan was to map as many IP addresses as possible by having those as in many houses as possible. And this was to counter the Windows home computer versus the Sony PlayStation, because at that time it was looking like the Sony PlayStation was that entertainment device. Microsoft came in with their entertainment device. We're now at a time where a computer, a console, entertainment devices, they're really whatever. Microsoft knows that, so that their services, Game Pass, can be played on all these multiple devices. Anyway, so who's this? Rob Fahey, former editor of GameIndustry.biz, who has spent several years living in Japan and probably still has a mint condition Dreamcast. Yeah, you see how niche he is? Several years living in Japan, and he's talking about, Xbox. So I don't want to discredit him or anything, but I feel like, there's a lot more under what Microsoft's trying to do. Okay. It's like you can tell when a game meant for phone is ported crossplay with console and the way it's played in the UI. It is very noticeable and can get awkward for the console players to play. That's a really good point, and that's another reason why you got to hand it to the developers of Overwatch to take their time to create a whole UI system. It's funny because playing it's like, oh, there's a lot of the same mechanics in here, but it's like redone completely. Not a deal breaker, but something that needs to be accounted for on the console end, like how RTS games usually take ages to get translated to console from PC if they ever get ported at all. Yeah, that's you know what, and we're gonna get to more like porting stuff here in a second. So Monster Hunter Wilds reviews turn overwhelmingly negative on Steam despite its Game of the Year buzz. So I don't know what happened. As of June 20th, if you check the Monster Hunter Wilds Steam page, the recent reviews are now described as overwhelmingly negative. Even its all review section is listed as mixed. This is wild. No pun intended, it's impossible. As Monster Hunter Wilds sits at a phenomenal 88 out of 100 Metacritic. So what's going on? This game is a mess. It is horribly optimized. There are not that many new monsters or fun fights. Move sets are boring, and it all just feels like a gimmick. One user doesn't run even semi-well at 1080p, 30 FPS, crashes my entire PC. It's a scam, and it's sad. So, that is actually an interesting, I guess, part to discuss when it comes to game reviews, I guess, because a lot of times when it comes to performance, I wonder how much that is up to that individual person's setup, how they know how to tweak it, but you shouldn't have to worry about that. So I can understand the complaints. And it was interesting. There was this other article that came out, and I forgot what game. Was it Mecha Break? Where they realized like China players will en masse do incredible negative reviews. But the Mecha Break devs said that's actually very helpful. When a game is first released, the review bombing, and I see Chris bringing that up, the review bombing is actually like a red flag, like up high, like, whoa, hold on. There's a core thing here. And yeah, at first it's like, the review bombing, that's just dumb. And I think most of the time is also dumb, but there are times where it's like the Mecha Break developers are like, wow, we didn't realize this sort of barrier that was actually there the whole time. And if it wasn't for the review bomb, we wouldn't have known. And does that, do you do that for technical problems? I think so. I remember when Elden Ring came out and had the frame pacing, and I was really disappointed in that. I still played it. I mean, Bloodborne was the same way, and it's like you can feel that in the game because you're actually, your muscle memory memorizing the movements, the animations. And so you can feel that frame pacing. And it's interesting with my gaming habits, and I don't know if it's because I've been gaming for so long, but I'm used to games having unintended jank. And sometimes that's a charm. But I think if it gets to the point where it's going to stop people from playing, maybe it's good that people are loud about it. I don't know. Chinese negativity was with Overwatch 2 when it hits Steam. Oh, okay. I don't remember that one. Review bombing has its uses so long as it's not abused. Right, yeah. And that's where I think, Chris is getting at with it being dumb, because I think most of the time it is dumb. But I'm curious what you guys think about the Monster Hunter Wilds thing, because I will say, and it reminds me of Gundam Breaker 4, because I didn't really historically play Gundam Breaker. I had fun with 4, but people are like, this isn't as good. With Monster Hunter Wilds, I noticed the same thing. I've never really played a Monster Hunter game, but when I see what the negative talk of Monster Hunter Wilds is, it's in relation to the previous entries. So I still want to try it, though. I have it on my list. In fact, let me pull that list up. Let's see, 2025. So this is where I'm, keeping track of what I've beat, which doesn't seem like a lot. Gundam Seed Battle Remastered was end of May to June. Okay, that wasn't too long ago, but I can add some more stuff. And what I do is I have like in progress things I started, and then things that I beat from the previous year. No, in progress is either things I've started or things I intend to play. But like Atomfall, I did play that, didn't beat it, but I keep it in there just so I kind of get an idea of what I've been playing. But anyway, What I'm getting at with that is I do want to try Monster Hunter before the end of the year. I'm going to wait for a sale. Review bombing is rarely not abused. Yeah, Chris, I think that is the good takeaway from this. Even though it looks like review bombing can have its ups, most of the time it's, my immediate thought with Monster Hunter Wilds getting negative on Steam is probably something to do with optimization. Yeah, so that is actually what it looks like. Was the game is an unoptimized mess that is wholly and pathetically, utterly reliant on fake frames from frame generation and upscaling, which causes the game to somewhat look even worse. So that's very interesting because there are a lot of technical, like AI things that have been in gaming for a decade, and I feel like there is going to be this sort of push of generation. I know, and it's funny because with AI, we talk about AI generation, but also video games have been doing an AI generation before AI was the term that was used to describe it. And I can 100% see what they're talking about. And I feel like big companies like Capcom might be doing that so that they're not delaying a game to optimize. So yeah, it's very interesting. But then I would like to see it myself. To talk about. Let's see. Not gonna lie, I want a Mobster Hunter game now, just hunting down the mob one by one. That's pretty good. Chris, the PC optimization has been complained about since launch day, though. Yeah, that's a bad thing. If that's a complaint now, up until now, with such a big game that technically they have the resources to fix it, maybe people should be speaking up. All right. Fortnite confirms Street Fighter skins returning to item shop, including Cammy. That's really cool. You know what? Does it matter? But in both of these instances, the faces, Chun-Li, Cammy, that doesn't even look like them. But how do you look like them? I don't know. It really looks like someone's cosplaying them. That's interesting. Anyway, I haven't bought anything in Fortnite in a long time, but those skins are pretty cool. All right. Okay, this is insane. Metroid Prime 4 ad on London Underground claims the game is out now. Wouldn't it be so crazy if you walked past this and you're like, what? What? It's out? Like, how do you mess that up? Like, you would think between the people sending this to get plastered, the people posting it up, and I'm sure there's a manager and as someone approving the work, I would think there's someone that would be like, whoa, Metroid Prime 4 is out now? But no, that's funny. I mean, I guess this means it's coming soon. Is it going to be, yeah, it's 2025, so I guess, it is around the corner. Kind of another reason to get the Switch 2, but I guess it's going to be on Switch 1 also. But I will say, while Metroid Prime is fun, I don't think 3D Metroid is the path. Especially when it took so long for a fourth to come out. It's like they really don't know what to do except that they know that people ask for it. That's why they hired Mercury Steam to make Dread. When I'm a big Metroid fan, Dread was not that great. I feel like I'm alone on that. It's crazy. Okay. New report suggests third-party Switch 2 game sales are below estimates. It's hard to describe these statistics as positive. So, the sales of Nintendo's new Switch 2 hardware had become one of the fastest-selling consoles ever. Sales of third-party games have reportedly been sluggish and below estimates. That's according to a new report by The Game Business, which intimates that despite attracting strong... I never use the word in this way. Despite attracting strong buy-in from partners like EA, Take-Two, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Sega, Camera, blah, 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 blah. Most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers. But that's a lot then. I mean, then you're asking for people to choose from a lot. According to Nielsen, Cyberpunk is the best-selling third-party game of Switch 2, not any sort of family-friendly game. That's pretty interesting to think about. However, although third-party publishers appear to have done slightly better during the launch of Switch 2 compared to Switch 1, it's hard to describe these statistics as positive. Most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers. One third-party publisher characterized numbers as below or our lowest estimates, despite strong. Now, here's the other thing. I think this might just be physical game sales. Oh, wait. Plus, the Switch 1 only launched with 5 physical games. Wow. Okay, so the improvement over the Switch 1 launch is also slightly okay, yeah, that's a very good. For starters, there were more consoles sold this time. Okay, yeah, so Switch 2 is selling more. The first Switch launched with 5 physical games, and the Switch 2 has 13 physical games. Yeah, there's really less of a need. Yeah, even looking at me where I didn't really try to get the Switch 2. Well, I mean, I did, but I didn't spend a lot of time trying to get. Even the other day, my wife and I were at Best Buy and Target, and we were like, well, if we see it there, we'll get it. And we didn't. So we just went home, and we weren't like, oh, let's try to find it. So that's very interesting. I wonder what this is going to mean for the Switch 2. I guess I'm not trying to say anything bad. I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like there's these assumptions that gamers, journalists, the market have with where gaming is going. And I guess another thing to add is, remember, by the end or middle of the Switch 1 life on the eShop was all those slop games, anime, hentai games. And it's like odd. And that's a huge shift, right? Anyway, I don't really know what else to take away from this, but yeah. All right, let's move on. Xbox bringing original and Xbox 360 games to PC via emulation, it's claimed. So this is awesome because just yesterday I was thinking to myself, with the kind of convergence of being able to play any Xbox game anywhere, there are still those console-only games that exist. And I guess there was a rumor about someone from the emulation scene working with Microsoft, but then that person said they're not. But Microsoft I love that they're doing this. This is stuff that Nintendo and PlayStation are not doing, right? Let's just break it down just simply. Microsoft is making more games more available. Nintendo and PlayStation don't do that. It's just another reason why it's like I don't want us to like always knock down Microsoft. Okay. Xbox could be ready to bring the past to the present, according to a new rumor note from known Xbox leakers. Xstasis, Xbox is working to bring original Xbox and 360 games to PC and other platforms via emulation. Let's see. Via machine translation, a source who works directly at Microsoft said the company is working on what's provisionally known internally as Xbox Classics, which, okay, and this is where I heard Yesenia, the emulator team, has denied any involvement, but Microsoft is still working on stuff in the background. What Xbox is working on is a new advanced emulation platform designed to run classic Xbox 360 and original Xbox titles with stability, graphical improvements, full integration with Game Pass piece. And notice they're like, wow, yeah, we can do all of this all of a sudden. I will say, most likely, I can see why they would deny involvement, and I could see why Microsoft's all of a sudden say, hey, we can do all this stuff, because it's the same reason why they're using AMD and not NVIDIA, because they have their own AI platform. That's why it would cost Microsoft more to work with NVIDIA, and there would be too much overlap. The reason they're working with AMD is because AMD is not like relying on their own internal AI, and Microsoft has their whole AI platform. So even on my own time, using AI, things I've been able to solve very easily, development-wise. Microsoft figured out with AI how to quickly emulate these games, and then they're going to get them on every platform. This is awesome news to me. He says that the move will coincide with Xbox's 25th anniversary, which the company plans to celebrate in a major way with a number of new games and announcements throughout 2026. Xastis also says the Xbox is working with the Xania team in order to make this feature happen. Xenia, for those who don't know, is an open source Xbox 360 emulator currently available on PC. And I've used it a bit. It's a little cumbersome if you just want to get to playing a game. Wow, we are at time, but I had some other stuff I wanted to bring up real quick. Let me look at chat. MS won't be bringing that much because of copyrights. At the same time, most people not. Oh, we'll see. I mean, they're with all the layoffs they have, the fact that they're making that a priority, I think there's something serious behind it. I'm too poor to be anything but a casual gamer nowadays. Also, they keep wanting me to buy a whole new console, which I just can't afford. And so that's the thing. When we were talking about low-end PCs earlier, when they were making that comment, you can get Xbox stuff to run on low-end PCs. You know, Game Pass, streaming, like, yeah. I feel like Autonomous, you will find a way pretty soon where that's not going to be a big deal. But then it's just like, what's that initial investment? You know, is it PC hardware? Is it laptop? Yeah. Okay, IREM Collection Volume 3 launches July 1st. This seems pretty cool. $25, you get Mystic Riders, Dragon Breed. What was the other one? I thought it said there was another game. Oh, Mr. Heli. I mean, Dragon Breed looks cool. Yeah, $25. You know what? And I think that's it. Yeah, we've hit time. You know, it's crazy to see Death Stranding 2 June 26th. I'm not going to play that. If anything, I'll be paying attention to it though, but I'll be playing the first one. All right, I think that's it. It is time for me to head to work. Thanks for joining this episode. I'll be back Monday with another episode. And man, after the workout this morning, I still feel like right now I'm going to die. I need to relax or something. But anyway, all have a good weekend. We will talk later. See ya.